Hello, my name is Sergio Marrero, and this video is on how to write a resume. A resume can be subjective, but there are things that you should include in every resume, and I will go over some of those here. Also, as I go through, keep in mind I'm going to make suggestions. The people that you should listen to as you create a resume are the employees that, if you know an employee at the firm that has already received a job offer, or other recruiters, you want to ask their opinion. Also, I'm going to be focused on, I will focus on a business resume. I have consulting experience, and that's the experience that I will be speaking to. This resume will speak particularly to consulting, but I think overall it can apply to other areas. So a resume is a one-page representation of you, or at least your professional self. And there are three major areas that I'm going to talk about: the framework for the resume, the content to include in the resume, and the format. And I'll just put a visual image here, just so as we talk about the different areas, because the framework, the first part, relates to the headings or the different sections to include in the resume. So here you have, I have education as the first area, professional experience, my activities and skills on this sample resume on the right. So let me go over some of the areas again. Your contact information you should definitely include. Objective is a potential section. You have your education, your work experience, activities, if applicable, and your skills and interests. And then also some people include referrals. So those are the major areas. For your contact information, you want to include your name, your address, that's mailing address, your email, your phone number, and make sure that if you're including your phone number, it's a phone number that you can respond to readily, but also if you're out with friends, that it will be a professional setting and response. There won't be noise in the background and what have you. Also, this is optional, but if you do have a website and wish to include it, this is where it would go. Objective, personally, I don't recommend an objective. Partly because you are applying to a job. Your objective is to get a job and get this job that you're applying to. So I think it's a wasted space. You could expand on another section, because there is a lot to include. But if you do include it, be as specific as possible. You want to make sure that another person cannot state your objective as their own, and that's how you know if it's specific. For education, you would include the dates. The month and the year is sufficient. The school that you went to, the degree, if applicable, and then you want to put GPA if your GPA is over a 3. Also, any other honors, scholarship, something that will make you stand out as unique, maybe Dean's List. This is the section that you would put it in. Then work. Work is the most important section. You also include, because you're applying for a job, you want to include the dates, including the month and the year, the company, the location, the role, and department, and then most importantly, you want to have description of your work experience. And I'm going to talk about the descriptions of work experience. I'm going to come back to that one because it needs further explanation. Then activities, you want your dates, you want positions, the company or organization, and the location. And I'll just put location here. For skills and interests, this is where you would put your language, or maybe you're in a band or you do public speaking. This is the section at which you would do enter that information. But if you get paid for any of this, the activities under this section, you want to include it in work. Also, so this is some of the content. The last I'll talk about are referrals. I would not recommend including referrals. Even if you're going to include the line referrals furnished upon request, of course you would provide referrals if you were asked. So I would not recommend including this section if they ask for referrals. If referrals are applicable, they will ask for them. So the second section that I'm actually going to go back to is work description. So this is an example of two bullets underneath the work description. And as you're filling out the work description, I would keep in mind the situation you're talking about, the action that you performed, and the result. And when thinking about the result, you want to talk about your impact and what you did. So each bullet you want to talk about, particularly the action and result. This will come in handy during the interview session. During the interview, if each bullet talks about the action and result, it is a time when you can talk about the situation. So each bullet should relate to a specific situation that you can speak to. So let's go over the first bullet. Manage a cross-functional team of 6 analysts to identify $1 million in improvement opportunities. I'm sure you can, the first part of this, manage a cross-functional team of 6 analysts, that was your action. So that's what you did. The second part, identify $1 million in improvement opportunities, that was your result. So every bullet you want to set up in this format with the action and result so that you have a situation you can speak to during the interview process. Anything on the resume is open for the interviewer to ask about, and setting everything with a action verb in the beginning, a description of the activity and the result. It will prepare you for the interview process. Also, be quantitative where possible. You notice I said 6 analysts. I said how many shows that how large the team you are managing, and identifying $1 million worth of improvement opportunities. That's just an example. I'll leave the other example for you to read, but you can also, you don't have to use bullets. You can use a paragraph format, or each bullet can have 2 lines, but I like to use one situation on every line so you have a great deal to talk about. Also, my bullets were 1 line. If you use 2 lines, make sure every bullet is 2 lines to be consistent. Actually, now we're getting into format, so I will move to the next section. So the last is format. And in format is the most subjective component of creating a resume, but it is very important. Overall, you are consistent. That you are consistent above all. That's the most important part. If you bold all the headings, if you bold one heading, make sure you bold all the headings, or you have them aligned in the same way. So that's one thing. Keep the headings in mind. You want them to be all the same. Make sure the indentations are all the same. Make sure the alignment is consistent. You notice everything is aligned on the left-hand side. It's harder to see here, but where the companies are all aligned. Make sure that it is aligned as necessary. Also, if you use bold, see over here it's hard to see, but if you bold let's say the title to your job, make sure you bold the title to all the jobs. You want to be as consistent as possible. I said the use of bullets or not using bullets, you want to make sure that for one job, if you use bullets for your work descriptions, you use bullets for your work descriptions for all the jobs. Also, uses of dashes. If you do use dashes, sometimes Word reformats the dashes. Just double check that they are all the same size. Last but not least, white space. You notice when you look at this from far away, there's a good amount of white space. It's not too crammed, and it's easy to look at. That makes a big difference. So make sure overall you don't have too much crammed into there. You should not go lower than 11 size font. Also, for formatting, I would keep it to a page and keep it to the last 10 to 15 years worth of experience. Although I am not talking about an executive resume. This is a resume maybe for a more junior position. If you are an executive or have more experience, I'd recommend talking to a professional, a recruiter, peers in the industry to find out what is acceptable. And overall, that was the framework, the content you should include in each section, some suggestions for the format. Keep in mind, I would talk to the employer, talk to people who have been successfully hired by the firm, and also remember, above all, this is a one-page professional representation of you. Take your time and make sure that it represents you well. Below are 2 links to resume templates online for you to use.